Hello again, everyone. It is an immense privilege and honor to share the stage with Angelique Kidjo. She is a 5-time Grammy Award winner. She has put out 14 albums to date, though hilariously, when I tried to confirm that number backstage, she was like, I don't know, 18, depending on who you ask. So we'll go with 14 as the official number, but just to give you a sense of all of the incredible work she's done. She has been called Africa's premier diva by Time Magazine, one of the most inspiring women in the world by The Guardian, and the most powerful celebrity in Africa by Forbes.
Don't believe any of it.
And she is also a UN and Oxfam Goodwill Ambassador. So please, again, join me in welcoming Angelique Kidjo.
I'm happy to be here. The whole day, it took me the whole day to get here.
Yes, thank you, Angelique. I know you've had a very long journey to get here, so we're so glad that you made it. And I guess I just wanted to start with, you've been talking about climate change and have been a climate activist for your entire career. So I would kind of love to go back to the beginning and sort of learn a little bit more about what inspired that climate activism in the first place. When did you sort of first start developing your awareness of the importance of the planet and of climate change?
I think I grew up with my maternal grandmother that was an herbalist. She heals people. I never understood why people come all the time in the house and she would give them this potion. When I say I have headache, she gives me that. You have belly ache, she gives me that. And I'm like, okay, I guess that's the way it works. And every time that I'm about to forget that I can't put anything on the ground, even trash, and then she go, pick it back up. I'm like, Grandma, look, everybody's doing it. I say, I don't care what everybody's doing. You got to take care of the earth because she's taking care of us. We have to do the same. So it's sink in me, and I always incorporate my environment in everything I do. And then I get pregnant. And one day I was 6 months pregnant, and it struck me that the garbage trucks passed every week 2 or 3 times. And the garbage truck, my garbage can is always full. And I'm like, okay, let me go back and look at what I'm consuming that bringing so much garbage. That's when I wrote the song Agolo. Because suddenly, it's not about me and the earth anymore. It's about the next generation. What earth are we gonna leave? What is our responsibility and how we can deal with this? So my link with earth, Mother Nature, has been since I was a kid. And I hate it when my grandma wake me up at 6 o'clock in the morning and say, I'm gonna get this plant, come with me and hold the bag. I'm like, oh man, I wanna sleep. So that's why it stays with me, because it's just like when everybody's playing, here I am, picking up plants I don't understand what it is about. And she tried to explain to me that if you observe nature, there's everything we need in it. There are plants that can replenish us, that can get us when we're in a dire situation, that can help us. And there are plants that can kill us. That is everything for me to understand that I walk, every time I wake up, I walk with life and death. And that's the way it is. And that's how nature is too.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Agolo, which is, of course, one of your earliest hits, and you wrote that song in 1993, and I know the message of that song is to pay attention to Mother Earth.
Absolutely.
Which is pretty remarkable that you had that message already nearly 30 years ago. And so I'm curious, what do you feel has changed in the time since you first wrote that song, and also perhaps more depressingly, what hasn't?
When I wrote that song, I was hopeful, really, and I'm still hopeful, but I'm more realistic today. I've traveled the world, and I continue traveling the world. And every time I get to a place, the first thing I do when I check into my hotel room is to take a walk and to visit, because I want to understand a little bit the public that are going to come to my show, and I can tell them where I've been, what I've eaten, what I've seen. And step by step, you see the landscape changes. Wow. Last time I was in Adelaide in Australia, I'm like, I've never seen this drought like that. And they say that's the way we live in now. It comes and goes, and the fire started, and we are cut off guard. You can't prepare because nature don't send you an email telling you, I'm coming to, tsunami is coming 2 minutes. It just comes, right? And what hit me also was like 3, 4 years ago, I was back in my country in Benin, and I was looking, my sister and I we were going to the market, and I'm like, Palette, those guys are farmers. What are they doing in the street? And then she said to me, the farmers are more and more in the cities because there's nothing to harvest. And I sat back in the car and go, oh, we're talking about farming. If we cannot feed ourselves because of climate change, multiply that by everywhere in the world. And I was shaken. I was sitting down going, ooh, this is gonna be ugly. But I didn't have any solution because I'm not a politician. I don't have any power than think about what I saw. And that's why this album, Mother Nature, come to life. I start thinking about it in my head 3 or 4 years ago. And also I've done a lot of lectures in universities in America. And for me, every time I have the opportunity, I always tell the teachers, you guys are teachers. I want to hear from the kids. I want to hear from those students what it is about for them. And the last lecture I did was at UC Berkeley. And the kids, the student, they ask different questions. Culture and climate change, culture and social changes, artificial intelligence with our life, our freedom. I was just like, okay, let's go for it. And it's absolutely mind-blowing to see how articulate those youth are, those young kids are. And I said, you are so smart. Why you want to talk to me? I don't have any power to change anything. They say, because no one listened to us. Our leaders, our teachers, yeah, we have a discussion and then they just brush it off. We have ideas, we can bring something to the table. Nobody wants to listen to us. And their frustration is painful for me because I'm like, I am as frustrated as you are, but you cannot just be frustrated. What can we do? Let's start doing something. Even the smallest thing that you think is not relevant, it's always going to be relevant when it comes to Mother Earth.
It's interesting that you mention youth and education because I know you run a foundation in Africa that focuses on education for young girls. And I'm curious sort of what you found are the intersections between that work and your climate activism.
I think that education is at the center of everything. We cannot talk about anything without education. And it goes back to one phrase that I remember my father saying to his family members and friends that telling my father, why are you sending your girls to school? You can write them off and make money. My father will always say, my children are not merchandise. It's my girls, they have bread. I want them to make their own future. I don't want to do that. And he also always tell us, don't take it lightly, because with education, you're going to be a very responsible adult. That the world we live in, the day we see as he's speaking to us, might be different in 1 year, in 2 years, in 10 years. How will you live with the world ever evolving if you are not educated to understand that those changes has nothing to do with your frustration or your dreams, but you can be part of the change and do something positive about it? And I decided that I was going to be working with young girls. When I became UNICEF ambassador in 2002, my first question was, what does that mean? Does it mean I have to go around shaking politicians' hand? I'm not good at it because I'm not diplomatic at all. And they said, no, what you want to do? I say, children's right, women's right, and adolescents' right. They say, okay, let's go. So we started it. It was the year the Millennium Development Goal that we signed the universal right to education for all kids. took us that long to do that. So I started recording PSAs for radio, TVs in many different languages, and I started traveling in Africa. And then suddenly, out of the blue, people who come from villages like, they're calling me by my song name. They don't even know my name. I'm like, huh? I didn't even know that all those things that I've been doing here has been impacting any mothers that I was speaking to that told me, Angelique, we understood and we understand everything you say, anything you do. You ask us to put our girls to primary education, we did. Now what? And I said, what do you mean? And they said to me, you know very well that when they finish primary education and they're not in school, they get married off. And we don't want that for our kids. We've been through that. What are you going to do about secondary school? I went back to UNICEF. They say, we can. It's not in the project of UNICEF right now. It's only primary education. I'm like, I can't let that be. So I try and then talking to people all around me. And every time somebody I talk about, help me, I want to do something for secondary education, people say to me, Angelique, stop dreaming. I mean, it's a lost cause. The rate of dropout in secondary school is just absolutely. I'm like, you're going to tell me that I can't bother? If it's easy, why are you sitting here telling me that I want to do something? So I found two friends, lawyer in Washington, D.C., and they come to me and they say, well, we'll be doing little things in Africa because they are the one that revive, the law firm revisit and revive the law of whistleblowing. So every time they will win any case, they will put some of the money in a fund that they call Opportunity Fund. So they came to me and they said, what is your idea? I say, I want to put young girls to secondary school. Not in the cities, there are plenty of college and all this kind of stuff. I want to walk the dirt road where no one wants to go. And then I want to give scholarship, mentoring, tutoring, books, uniform, and 1 meal a day. And we started it in 2006 in 5 countries, Benin, Mali, Cameroon, Ethiopia, and Sierra Leone. In the second city of Sierra Leone, Waterloo, we built a school. And what I wanted to do was not to have a huge staff. So I started looking into all those NGOs that were already working with very vulnerable young girls. And the first partnership that we had was with USAID. So we took the girls and we started it. And it was really difficult to see the first batch of girls that was in Kidal in Mali disappear because of the terrorists. And reality come to check. So you are like, how do you protect your girls? So sometimes we'll see program works that we did in the southern part of Ethiopia, Arbamench. We'll give the scholarship to the mothers, and in return they pay for the tuition of the kids. And you see the result is just amazing. So after 10 years, I said to myself, now I want to know why girls drop out of school, but I need data about it. So I turned my attention to an organization called Population Council in New York. And they say, Angelique, the size of your organization is perfect. We just have this technology we call Girl Roaster that we use in Guatemala. Let's use it with you. So I say, okay, now, let's scale it down a little bit. Let's take 2 villages from my country and we develop that and see if it works. Because I don't want to be doing things fast and then you waste time and you waste people's life. It's not my way of doing things. So we start with this. And when we start the data collecting, what came out of it? The girls said, we need safe spaces. We need places where we can come together and do business and emulate each other. So that's what we do. So we wrote the curriculum for them. We started with 12 till 18. Now we go from 18 to 30. And we also have a group that come from 11 to 12, different programs. But what the older one, mentors, it's just the mentorship is all around. And our partner is MasterCard Foundation. And we are going to be going to Senegal pretty soon, and the northern part of my country, the northern part of Benin, is the most complicated part because it's really dry and it has people that come from Mali, Niger, all those things. People move a lot that there, and the thing that has always been heartbreaking for me was the girl in the northern part of Benin. They are married at the age of 8 to older men, and they start working as servant, and from the puberty on, they becomes mothers. And I want to all those cycles of things take away the power of the girls. So the girls that we have today, they are so amazing. Sometimes I just cannot believe it. They have their business together. They start talking about saving money for the school for their own kids. They impact the community at large. We bring solar panel. So for now, for the first time in those villages, we can drink cold water. When the pandemic arrived, they said, what can we do? I said, what do you want to do? They said, we don't know what is going on. So we told them what they have to do. They say, okay, they manufacture the mask. They manufacture soap. They put water in every corner. And they say, we don't care about the local radio. We don't care about the bus. We're going to rate the radio. And they have that around the clock, day in and day out, singing song and the message for the elderly people. Don't touch your face. Don't keep your physical distances. We have what, and probably they save a lot of lives. For me, helping somebody is making the person responsible for its own life and being its own leader. Because I don't like people to tell me what I have to do. So who am I to tell some people what they should do?
I mean, I'm curious how you harness sort of that incredible energy and motivation, and channel it in some ways into climate change. You know, when you speak about a young girl who potentially is facing being married off at 8, you know, she and her mother may feel like that climate change is too far away, or that it's too existential, or that it sort of is small potatoes compared to that reality. Absolutely. And so I'm curious how you have conversations about climate with women and girls in particular in those communities.
I mean, bringing the solar panel was the opening door for me to be able to talk about that. Because in those villages, they never had electricity. The fact that they can put the light on, they can help all the little kids to do their homework, and they have to protect the solar panel, and they can cook with it. So if you want to tell people in Africa, don't cut the tree to cook, you have to offer another solution. So here we are telling to people, the poorest of the poorest, not to cut trees. Even if they know if it's bad, you're going to tell them not to eat. And what is also important is that once you talk to those girls, they need somebody to sit with them and tell them what is going on. Not only, but to show them. And I realized that you believe more and you make a profound change in what you see. When we just start talking blah, 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 it goes around like that. Because they've seen, those young girls have seen so many NGO comes and be the boss of them, telling them what to do. They come in fancy cars and they leave and their life don't change. They don't want that anymore. They want to be taken into consideration. And when you start talking about climate change and they see it, and they understand that cutting that tree, all that forest is gone, this is going to be the reaction, they immediately find a solution within their own means. So that's how I think we can make the poor country start doing their own researches. That's what we do with UNICEF when we talk about acute malnutrition with newborn babies. We find within the nutriment of their own food what is necessary for the mother when she's pregnant to eat and what is necessary for the baby to be fed with, not to go miles away to find a solution, but to find the solution locally and empower the people's economy and the awareness about the fact that all these things that they use, all those crops, if they don't pay attention to earth, they won't have any left. Because it's the impact is there. It's not something fancy and very complicated words. It is their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I could continue asking you a billion questions, and I have a long list of questions, in fact, that I could.
You will have, I know that.
I'm always nothing if not prepared, but I also want to make sure to open it up to the audience. So, does anyone in the audience have a question for Angelique, and I think we'll try to take 3 at a time if possible. Yes, please.
Thank you so much, Angelique. Gosia Brzezinska here from BB Partners Advisory for Changemakers, as we like to call it. I've watched your career and your dedication to social change for years now. You're an inspiring artist and leader, and you've seen world leaders commit to change. Many of them, gave you a handshake and said, "We promise." In the last years or over that career, what are you really proud of? Where you have seen the change that you think actually happened, and what would you like to see more of? Thank you.
I think that the leaders of this world, we need to talk to them as we talk to one another. I'm not afraid of any leader. You're a human being. If you're thirsty, you drink water as I do, and I don't care who you are. So I'll tell you exactly what it is. You don't like it, I don't care, because you don't pay my rent nor my taxes. I pay for you to be there, and I vote for you to be in office. That's the way it is. One of the things that happens, at my surprise, I never knew this would happen one day. I've been approached a couple of years ago by the Italian ambassador to the UN. He came to me and said, "Angelique, this issue of female genital mutilation, we have to have all the countries sign the resolution. And they don't want to hear from us. They don't want to be lectured by us. Can you help us?" I said, "Me?" He said, "Yes. Why don't we do a concert at the General Assembly, and we'll see what happens. We'll say like you doing a concert, and they're all gonna come." And it happens, and they all came. And at one point I said to myself, you only can talk to people based on things they know. And I said to them that day, my father is an African man, born and raised in Africa. He knows the tradition in and out of where he comes from. But he will always stand against any tradition that will harm his children, because it is his duty, because he loves his kids. And none of you here sitting in this General Assembly can tell me that you don't care about your girl, the young little girl, your nieces, your cousins. You can't tell me that. If my father is able to do that, you ain't gonna sit down there and tell me you can't do the same thing. In December that year, all the countries signed the resolution. Because I spoke to them as I will do in front of any elderly in Africa. I've always been the child that they call when, why, how, because I ask questions. And I want answer. You don't give me an answer, man, I bug you till you have a headache.
Hi, Angelique. Thank you so much for being here. Yesterday, we had a panel about storytelling and climate change, and you are an incredible storyteller. And I think my question for you is, what do you think the power of storytelling is in inciting change, in creating change, and in pushing people to think differently as a storyteller yourself?
Well, me, I'm a fan of stories. When I was a kid, and the night comes before we go to bed, and they say, "Story time," I'm the first one, like, I'm in the front, on the nose, or even in the middle, push me, and I'm like, no, I want to hear all about it. Because in every story you tell, there is a lesson to learn. And growing up with elderly people talking to me by proverbs is a headache. Because if they don't want to answer you straightforwardly, they throw a proverb at you and you go. You sit down and you go, "What do you mean? What is this?" But the fact that you start thinking about it and you find the answer to it, it stays with you. Storytelling, that's the power of storytelling. It ignites your imagination and ignites something in you that wants you to move forward. For me, every story I've been told teach me things. I mean, there's a story about envy that I've been told when I was a kid. Jealousy, hate. There's not one thing that my grandmother won't come with a story and tell you, and you go, "Okay, I get it." Because if they start telling you, "Don't do this, don't do that," you know very well what you're going to do. You do exactly the contrary. But when it's a story that is compelling and exciting, you go, I want to do something about it. That is the power of storytelling in every culture. I've experienced this in Uganda facing a child soldier. And I was like, it is one of the most disturbing things when you're an adult, you have a child in front of you, there's nothing in the eye. That child is dead man walking. And you're like, how am I going to reach this child? So I said, we have two things, storytelling and lullabies. Those two things, I live on it. So I start singing a lullaby, and then suddenly the child starts smiling. I'm like, even me, I was taken aback. I was like, whew. And the UNICEF people was looking at me like, I said, shh, let me finish the song. I was almost in tears because that is embedded in your soul because you grow up with your mother holding you in her arms, singing lullaby to you for you to sleep. That never goes away.
Thank you so much. Piggybacking off of that question, I mean, you just talked about the role of storytelling, but of course, in addition to being an amazing storyteller, you are an incredible musician. I don't know if you guys knew that. And
No pressure.
I'm sort of curious to hear a little bit about what you think the role of music can and should be in the climate movement.
I think that music has a way of making you think. I remember growing up hearing the traditional musician in my family singing. And I'm never going to forget the day I turn around and I go, what? You want me to dance in these gruesome words? And my uncle said, shh, listen. I'm like, no, I don't want to dance. You go, just dance. And I'll explain later on. And then I said, why do we do that? And then he said to me, you have to learn one thing. If you want people to make change, guilt will turn them away. Who are you to lecture people and make them feel guilty and shame them and want them to make change? Let the lyrics be gruesome. Let them dance and sweat on it. And then when they go back home, they sit, they go, oh, I didn't. Yes, you did. And then you start thinking about it differently. And the decision you make to do something about it, it stays with you because it's your decision. And you will do anything to make something change about what you heard about. That's the power of music. The power of music is beyond every power. The politician can make speeches. How many politician speeches do you remember? They speak and they leave. You do your music, you put it in your car, you listen. Who want to listen to a president talking? It's boring as boring can be. So we have music to tell these beautiful stories. You dance on it. You don't even know you're making changes. And changes, by the time you blink one, we got you on hook. And that's what I love about storytelling. And singing, too, is the same thing. If you're singing, you're a storyteller. So I like it. I like to sing. I didn't ask to have the voice I have. I never asked for nothing. But I have it, so I use it.
So, on that note, we are going to transition into your performance, and I'm just wondering, before you perform, if there's anything that you want us to know about any of the songs that you're going to be singing.
First of all, I'll be playing with my piano player. We've been working together since 1987. And I'm going to do many songs about education, songs about love, songs about climate change, songs about our humanity. And one thing that I know for sure, there's time for talk, there's time for action. And we talk a lot, and we do little. Let's get to work, because this earth is, now, we don't have that luxury anymore. We're running out of time. It's about time that all of us, individually and collectively, do something about it. If our leaders don't want it, we push them out of office.
Ladies and gentlemen, Angelique Kidjo.
know. He like tell me, then I know what to play. On va commencer par quel est? He's asking me if you want to sing. Let's go for it. I like this. I like it. Okay. So I'm going to go. Kelele, kelele. You're going to sing. Oh, kelele, baba wa. Kelele, kelele. Oh, kelele, baba wa. The second one. Okay, let's go for it. We try. Let's take a chance. Can I have my voice here, please? Please, I need to hear myself. All right. On y va. 아부로미 모자렐라 같이 쉐이쉐어졌네 아부로미 모자렐라 같이 쉐이쉐어졌네 이완이 어머라 어머 바바 이완이 어머라 어머 바바 이완이 어머라 어머 바바 나라니 몰라 시셔 kelele kelele oh kelele baba wa come on kelele kelele oh kelele baba wa kelele kelele oh kelele baba wa kelele kelele oh kelele baba wa 아부로미 모자렐라 같이 쉐이쉐어졌미 아부로미 모자렐라 같이 쉐이쉐어졌미 이완이 어머라 어머 바바 이완이 어머라 어머 바바 이완이 어머라 어머 바바 라라니 몰라 시셔 kelele baba wa kelele kelele oh kelele baba wa kelele kelele oh kelele baba wa kelele kelele oh kelele baba wa ba jeni logun odurere baba jere baba o ba jeni logun odurere aye baba ko jule ba jeni logun odurere baba jere baba o ba jeni logun odurere aye baba ko jule mama so aburo aburo 모자렐라 같이 쉐이쉐어졌네 이완이 어머라 어머 바바 이완이 어머라 어머 바바 이완이 어머라 어머 바바 나라니 모너 시셔 kelele 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 아부라미 모자렐라 같이 쉐이쉐어졌미 이완이 어머라 어머 바바 이완이 어머라 어머 바바 오 헤이 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 오 kelele 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 아부라미 모자렐라 같이 쉐이쉐어졌미 이완이 어머라 어머 바바 이완이 어머라 어머 바바 오 헤이 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 Malaika. Malaika nakupenda
malaika. Malaika, nakupenda malaika, ningekuwa mariwe, ningekuwa dada, nashindwa na mali sina we, ningekuwa malaika. Nashindwa na mali sina we, ningekuwa malaika. Yeba. Pesa zasumbua roho yangu, pesa zasumbua roho yangu, nami nifanyeje kijana mwenzio, nashindwa na mali sina we, ningekuwa malaika. Nashindwa na mali sina we, ningekuwa malaika. Kirege hukuwasa kirege, kijege hukuwasa kirege, nami nifanyeje kijana mwenzio, nashindwa na mali sina we, jongli, ningekuwa malaika. Nashindwa na mali sina we, ningekuwa malaika, ningekuwa malaika, ningekuwa malaika, ningekuwa malaika. Don't ever let them hurt you in any way. And never let them steal and take the best of you. Keep building cities from the ground. We rising with the wave. Mother Nature has a way of warning us. A time bomb set on a last countdown. Do you hear it? Will you stop it? Won't you listen? Each one of us needs one of us. We need each other. We need each other now. We need each other now. Each one of us needs one of us. We need each other. Of you, keep building cities from the the ground, we rising with the wave. Mother Nature has a way of warning us. A time bomb set on a lost countdown. Will you find it? Will you stop it? Won't you listen? We need each other now. We need each other now. Each one of us needs one of us. We need each other. I know we are humans, but what can you use to give? She's giving us. Mother Nature has a way of warning us. A time bomb set on a lost countdown. Do you hear it? Will you stop it? Won't you listen? Yeah. Thank you so much. On piano, Mr. Thierry Vaton. Thank you so much. So we have one last song for you, but this time, for sure, you're gonna have to sing. Before you do, no, we're gonna sing. This song is a song that that I sing all the time, and I think I'm gonna sing it till my last breath. Because I wrote this song to celebrate our shared humanity. Because sometimes I get tired of stupidity. It's true. Some people just go out about and hate people because they feel like they can hate people. You don't know them, they do nothing to you, and you think that you're powerful when you hate? No, you show your cowardness. Hate is a void in someone. If you choose to hate people, you're gonna start asking yourself the question, why you're so angry and what is wrong with you? So I said, a human being is not a matter of color. We are all one humanity, one ecosystem, one earth. So we're gonna see this. Ashe mama, Africa. Ashe mama, Africa. I wanna hear you, babe. So you fool me one, eh? You can sing and you just. Okay. So I want you to sing it really loud when I say let's go. Just give me all you got. I want some love, man. Took me a whole day to get here. I want some love. Me de souciant la me wede me wana monde beton lo me e pon boro nya toro we Africa maybe say to we me no me be nya let's go ashe mama Africa mama Africa de le chimbo chijani ba me de le fondo nu wa we you not no to we glelo ya ma no de wa we niño ye fondo nya nya chora we Africa maybe say to we mi no mi be nya nya let's go Mama Africa oh Mama Africa Ni show, 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 yeah man. before Africa gelo me wana fombo monde kweton ide social me wede me de manali da pe mi ton ye fombo ro nya ton da we Africa me bi se ton we mi nu mi gbe nya let's go Mama Africa oh Mama Africa oh Mama Africa oh Bawa Sile Bawa Yanu come on Bawa Mini Raga Raga Ashe Mama Africa 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 Africa, Africa, Mama Africa, Mama Africa. Come on, you alone now, come on. Come on, give me a love. Yes. Mama Africa, Mama Africa. Oh, Ashe Mama Africa. Ashe Mama Africa. Ashe Mama Africa. Ashe Mama Africa. Thierry Vaton on piano. Thank you so much. Thank you. Adija.